your leadership, your Peshmerga, in conjunction with everybody else in Iraq, are doing against ISIS. The United States will continue to support that struggle. A new administration, however, will have to do two things. First, it will have to finish the defeat of ISIS in Mosul, possibly, and certainly in Raqqa, Syria. Secondly, it will have to deal with the expansionist tendencies of Iran. That's very worrisome to us, to many of our allies in the region, for example, Turkey. It's of concern to the government of Kurdistan as well. We have to ensure that Iran does not try to capitalize on any vacuum in the region. Both leaders will focus on that, regardless of who's elected. Yes, I do. Certainly, President Obama pivoted away from the Middle East to some degree towards Asia. To some degree, he basically did not play the traditional role that the United States played, balancing forces and responding to terror and aggression. I think a new president, regardless of who, will return to the policies, say, of the first Clinton administration or of the first President Bush. Syria is not like Libya. It's not a problem all by itself. Syria is part of the whole issue of Iran in the Middle East and Russia's alliance with Iran. That is tremendously destabilizing. The first thing a new president has to do is to recognize that's the most dangerous element in the region today. The second thing a new president has to do is to take the decision whether he or she will act to contain and to push back that Iranian, Russian, Syrian threat. Once you've taken those two decisions, and only after you've taken those two decisions, can you decide what you're going to do. It could be negotiation with the Russians, although we've tried that. It could be a stronger military presence on the ground. It could be more support to the rebel forces against the Assad regime. It could be pressure on Iran someplace else. We don't know what the specifics are, but nothing will work if you don't first take a decision on those two basic questions. Well, first of all, it's very close in terms of the election. Hillary Clinton has a seemingly clear majority of people who will vote for her, but she doesn't necessarily have a majority of essentially states. In America, the election is determined by how people do in each state rather than the number of people who vote for them. So that's the first point. The second point is Hillary Clinton is more experienced in the Middle East than Donald Trump is. So, and to the extent that experience and knowledge play a role, and they do, she would be more effective. One, you never know until one of them becomes president. Two, anybody who goes through such a difficult, tiring, physically demanding process like a presidential campaign is not weak. He or she is strong. He certainly cannot with the attitudes he had during the campaign. He would have to change, you're right. He has essentially no choice. If he were to end the deal, he would receive no international support, no support for any new sanctions against Iran. Iran would sell its oil freely everywhere in the world but America, and it would begin working on a nuclear weapon. Thus, the only way to stop it would be through a war. I do not think he wants that, so I do not think that he will tear up the agreement. I think he will hold to the agreement. First, go and talk to all of the key leaders, including President Barzani of the Kurdistan Regional Government. Secondly, listen to the experts. And once you come up with an answer to these basic questions, what is the threat in the region? How can America respond? Make sure everybody understands what you're doing and do not waver or deviate from that. If you're going to draw a red line, you have to execute it. I think President Obama helped Kurdistan a great deal. There's obviously complications in giving aid to a subunit of a country as opposed to the country, but the United States has found ways to work through it. Either a President Trump or a President Clinton will continue to provide necessary aid one way or another to Kurdistan.